Have you ever wondered how ancient humans had children when there were no houses, walls, or private bedrooms? It's a fascinating question. To answer it, we need to travel far back into prehistory. Life looked very different from what we know today. Ancient humans lived in small groups and spent most of their time focused on survival. Finding food, avoiding predators, and staying safe were their biggest priorities. Scientists study bones, tools, cave sites, and ancient settlements to understand how these early communities lived. While we can never know every detail, evidence gives us valuable clues. One thing we do know is that families existed long before modern cities, and children still needed care, protection, and support. Many prehistoric people gathered around campfires and lived in small social groups. Unlike today, most people lived in open camps, caves, or temporary shelters. There were often far fewer physical barriers between people than we have now. Private bedrooms, apartments, and separate houses did not exist for most of human history. This leads to an important point. The idea of privacy itself has changed dramatically over time. What feels normal and necessary to us today was not always viewed the same way in ancient societies. Modern expectations about personal space in private rooms developed gradually over thousands of years. That doesn't mean ancient people had no privacy at all. They likely found opportunities through timing and circumstances. Nighttime provided darkness. Natural landscapes such as trees, bushes, rocks, caves, and hills could create temporary separation from the rest of the group. Nature itself often served as a simple form of privacy. Anthropologists sometimes compare ancient lifestyles with traditional hunter-gatherer societies to better understand how humans may have lived in the distant past. Researchers are careful not to make assumptions, but these comparisons can offer useful insights. Human groups migrated across different environments and climates. Throughout these journeys, stable relationships helped communities survive. Emotional bonds, partnerships, and family connections have likely played important roles throughout much of human history. Ancient cave art and archaeological discoveries suggest that social relationships were an important part of everyday life. Another important factor is child rearing. Human children require years of care before becoming independent. Because of this, many ancient communities likely relied on cooperation. Parents, relatives, and other group members often helped raise children. This shared responsibility improved the chances of survival for both children and adults. Food sharing was also a major part of family life. In harsh environments, cooperation became one of humanity's greatest strengths. People worked together, traveled together, and often cared for one another's children. Different groups lived in different ways. Some moved seasonally in search of food and resources. Others stayed longer in one location. Climate, geography, and available resources all influenced daily life. Because human societies were so diverse, there was never one single way that all ancient people lived. As time passed, major changes began to occur. Agriculture developed, permanent settlements appeared, villages grew larger, homes became more common, and eventually people started building structures with separate spaces, walls, and doors. These changes gradually increased privacy. As populations grew, social customs evolved. Expectations about personal space became stronger. Over many generations, the concept of privacy transformed into something much closer to what we experience today. When we compare ancient life with modern life, the differences can seem enormous. Yet some things have remained remarkably consistent. Humans have always formed relationships, raised families, cared for children, and adapted to the environments around them. So how did ancient humans reproduce without the kind of privacy we have today? The most likely answer is through a combination of social customs, timing, natural surroundings, and cultural norms that were very different from our own. Privacy existed, but it often looked different from the privacy we expect in the modern world. The biggest takeaway is that our ideas about personal space, family life, and privacy have changed throughout history. Understanding those differences helps us better understand the people who came before us. History often challenges our assumptions about everyday life, and sometimes the questions that seem simple reveal the most interesting stories about humanity's past. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy exploring fascinating questions from history, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this.